Hello again, Scraps from GriffinMods here. Today I'm bringing you part 3 of our in-depth review of the new Nerf Retaliator. Part 3, we're going to be doing a direct comparison with the Nerf Recon of the internals of both blasters and see exactly what they've changed and what they've updated in order to get these doubled ranges and much better accuracy out of the Retaliator. It's pretty much in every way a much superior blaster to the Recon. I've gone ahead and I've removed all the screws from the shells of both blasters to save us a little bit of time, as well as the end caps. One of the first things that I've noticed, and probably the only difference so far that I've noticed with the shell of the Retaliator, is that the hole here where the plunger rod sticks out is a much smaller diameter. I would imagine that's because you just have a plunger rod coming out of the back as opposed to a giant gaping hole for the reverse plunger system that's in the Recon. So let me pry these suckers apart real quick. Set those out of the way. And you can see here the beautiful brand new direct plunger system in the Retaliator versus the reverse plunger design of the Recon. I'm so glad that Nerf has finally decided to go with the much more efficient direct plunger design. I'm sure it took a little bit of engineering to figure out how to do a direct plunger in these smaller blaster shells. I would have almost liked to see them design a few completely new blasters for the Elite line, but I'm sure those are probably coming further down the road. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause the video for just a second here while I deconstruct these to save a little bit of time, and I'll be back here in just a moment. So I went ahead and I deconstructed both blasters. The only difference really in the shell is that here on the Retaliator you can see there's this tiny piece of white plastic right here that's in the canal that the reverse plunger of the Recon would normally travel in. The reason this is here, I had initially thought that the direct plunger of the Retaliator was stationary. It actually has a little bit of travel, and this rubberized piece of plastic right here keeps the plunger tube itself from sliding too far forward and going where you don't want it to go. The only other difference is the updated dart tooth here in the front. The dart tooth on the Recon was just a simple mechanism that moved up and down. This dart tooth here seems to be very similar, if not exactly the same, as the one on the Stampede, wherein the bolt sled pushes down the lock for the dart tooth, and then the bolt itself opens the dart tooth as it slides forward. I would imagine the reason for changing this is just to drive the dart a little bit further down the bolt and get you a little bit better seal and fire. Now, as we're looking at the bolt sled and the assemblies here, the bolt sleds themselves seem to be exactly the same between the two blasters. I've got the trigger catches right here, which seem to be fairly different, but that can be expected because you have entirely different plunger tubes for both blasters. The trigger catch for the Recon is open right here, whereas the Retaliator has this little tiny piece of white plastic, and that's actually to catch the piece of the plunger as it goes back. The other difference is that this seems to be a little bit stronger plastic than the plastic on the trigger catch for the Recon. I would imagine that's due to the direct plunger design, and makes it a little bit more durable, so go Nerf for using better plastics. Now the springs, this is the stock Recon spring that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. It's pretty flimsy for the most part, and usually needs upgraded. This is the spring for the direct plunger of the Retaliator. It's much smaller in diameter, it's fairly long. It's very similar to, I would say, a slightly bigger version of the Vulcan spring, or perhaps a slightly smaller than an aftermarket Stampede spring like you would get from Orange Modworks. It's a pretty decent spring for a stock blaster. It's just a little bit hard to compress all the way by hand. It'll be very interesting to see how this blaster performs with either an additional spring or a slightly heavier spring in it. Now getting to the big change, the direct plunger. You go ahead and take that off. This is the original bolt from the Recon and the reverse plunger system, and this is our brand new direct plunger system. It's really ingenious the way they put this thing together, and came up with a good way to incorporate a direct plunger system in a smaller size blaster. The plunger itself comes out, this right here is what actually catches on your trigger catch, this ring here. It's similar to that of the long shot. The bolt itself actually comes out of the plunger tube with an additional O-ring. You can also see here that on the Retaliator there's no air release holes like they put in the Recon, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, but I'm glad that Nerf is getting smarter. Now with the direct plunger itself, it does not come out of the plunger tube. They have this ring glued on the back here that seems pretty difficult to get off, that prevents the plunger itself from being removed from the tube. Now I'm going to stick my finger here in the end and test the air seal of the direct plunger system, and that's absolutely a 100% seal. I cannot move the plunger forward without taking my finger out, so there's really no need that I can see so far to take this ring off at all, because Nerf has done a very good job about sealing that up. My next question is going to be, how good is the seal when you combine both O-rings here? So I'm going to attempt to hold this in the center here, because as it slides forward there's no longer a seal, so it's only sealed when the bolt's in the fire position. So I'm going to hold this right here with my finger in the end and try to close the plunger, and yeah, again, that seal is 100%. The only reason there's movement at all is from the air that I can feel squeezing out around my fingers. So Nerf has done a very good job of sealing up this plunger system, and it really needs no farther modification as near as I can tell. So it's really a fantastic new design, and I applaud Nerf for moving things in the right direction. This is just a rehash of an older blaster, so I can't wait to see what they do with the direct plunger systems of some brand new elite blasters here further down the line. Well, I think that's about it for the internals review. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be coming at you here shortly with a modification video. Please remember to check out our Facebook page. That's GriffinMods, 2 words, and thanks for watching.